Hi, I'm Jack Upchurch. This video is a continuation of Disk191. This particular disc here is Disk192. This video was originally made in 1987, and it's a part two of the trip that we made up to Sand Mountain, Alabama. I took Mother and her sisters up to Sand Mountain, which they lived back in the 1930s. And then the other part of the video was a visit to Tyus, where my grandfather Smith and grandmother Smith were actually born and raised right there in Tyus. And we visit Pleasant Grove Church, where my great-grandfather was buried, and great-grandmother. Then we also visit First Baptist Church there in Tyus, where a lot of our grandparents, ancestors are buried. Mother Cleo was a Wessinger before she married Daddy B, Thomas B. Smith. And her dad was or her mother was a Sparks. So the Sparks are buried there at First Baptist Church in Tyus, and the Wessingers are buried there, and Mother Cleo and Daddy B are buried there as well. Calvin is also buried there. That was Mother's brother, Calvin Smith. He was buried there as well. So there are a lot of history there at Tyus Baptist Church. So again, this is a continuation of Disk191. I call this Disk192. So it's a lot of information here, and I made it for grandchildren and their children to perhaps view years after all of us are gone. So if you will, join me and we'll go down memory lane.
Mother used to go to when she was a little girl. She was 14 years old. She played the organ here. Met her. He was about maybe 17 years old. And up here, about a block up, she lived there. They decided to get married, so he got his buggy and his horse and brought up this old dirt road here. Mother jumped the little white picket fence. Mother jumped over the little white picket fence out there, ran down here. They went to Roosterville and got married.
Justice of the Peace.
When would that have been? About what, 1918 or?
Let's see now. Mother was born in 1900.
1914.
No,
Daddy
Mother was 14 when they got married.
Mother was born in 1899. Must have been about 1915, because I was born in 1918.
That started it all. Yeah.
Margaret, No, go ahead. You know.
Well, just tell me whose house this is.
This was Granddaddy Wessinger's house. And,
You ever been in it?
yeah, we went in it. It was a big long hall with rooms on either side. And a big back porch. And that's where the workers would come in and wash their hands and all before they went in to eat dinner.
Do you know how many children you had? Now, that's Mother Cleo's father, right?
Right. And this house would have to be 75 years old. They were 6 people, and there's 5 boys and 1 girl. Mother was only girl.
How many boys?
Wasn't it 5 boys? Yeah. I think they had 6 children, and Mother was only girl. But,
the house is in good shape. I wonder who it belongs to now. Do you know? Who lives in it?
I forget his name, but he bought that house, you know, and he knew Granddaddy Wessinger and everything. And they were so friendly. We really enjoyed our visit with them. No, I don't want to go in that house.
This house is located in Tyus, right?
Tyus.
Tyus.
Right on down.
And the mother Cleo lived over here on the corner on the left-hand side, right?
Uh-huh.
Big house that's gone now.
Yeah, it's just a vacant lot, but it's still. It was a beautiful. This store was here at the same time. Oh, this store, I guess, alone.
Mother Cleo's and Daddy B's grave.
I know it. They must have come off and been blowed up here from this. But I think this is one we got.
This is a church at Tyus.
This is the church that Mother and Daddy come down here to this cemetery and, you know, look at their parents' graves and all. And they'd open that back door back there in the back of the church and go in. Mother would play the piano and Daddy would sing, and they'd spend hours in there in that church alone. Her playing the piano and he'd be singing.
They just come up here by themselves?
Yeah, by themselves to visit, you know, look at the graves. And they'd go in the back door and go in there and she'd play the piano and he would sing.
Now,
they did that many, many times.
And who was buried up here then?
Well, a bunch of their kinfolks, some of them's parents and brothers and sisters and grandparents.
Was Mother Cleo's parents buried
Mother
here?
Cleo's parents and grandfather and grandmother and brothers
Are all buried here?
are all buried here. You should have showed the cemetery. You know, those flowers being so close is doing something to turn that thing is pretty. You look on Mother's side. Daddy died June the 1st. That was our anniversary. 90 You know, Grandpa Sparks' wife didn't die until 28. It seems like I should remember her, but I don't.
Well, I don't either.
I remember Grandpa.
Old enough to remember her.
I remember
But see, we lived on Sand Mountain then.
I remember Grandpa Sparks, but I don't remember her. Come here, Jack. I want you to get something over here. Real close. I want you to get the. You want me to?
Yeah.
This is my my great grandmother, I guess you would say.
Your
Mar-
great grandmother.
Yeah, and her name was Martha Sparks. She was born in 1845, and she died in 1923. And here's the next one is my great, I guess maybe they were my great grandparents. Moses Sparks, and he was born in July the 16th, 1844, and he died in December 1935. They were my great-grandparents, Mother's grandparents. And this over here is Mother's youngest brother, Raymond Wessinger. He was born in 1913. He died in 1935. The two of them, my great-granddaddy and Raymond, died just, you know, real close together. And then this is my grandparents, Molly Wessinger, born in 1876. And this is my grandfather, Wessinger, Mother's father. He was born in 1877, died in 1966, you know, which hadn't been all that too long ago. And
They were all raised, born, died here.
Born, raised, run around in this area.
So they brought her in this world.
What, Dr. P.I. is that?
P.L. Burgess.
And he's the one that brought Linda into this world.
Yeah.
Dr.
She
Burgess.
was born in 42, and he come by to see her when she was 6 months old because nobody think she would live. He just wanted to see what she looked like, and she was a healthy baby, and he said he was so surprised to see her looking like that and healthy.
Where was Linda
liked
born?
her.
Was she born in a hospital?
No, she was at Farmers High.
She
We
was.
wasn't in the hospital. Did nobody think that girl, that baby was.
Hair and set her on it to try to put pressure where
See, she ought to been in the hospital.
But you bet they didn't. I was in the hospital the next time. Lord, that was we could hear bursting right there. He's behind the barn.
See, I thought it had Jack. I knew I read it. Oh, I'm pretty feeling.
All these beautiful flowers. What's that thing doing like this here? Looks like it's falling over. How will I know when they died?
Neither one of them has it in
They don't, do they?
there. Now this is your grandfather and grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Daddy B's,
Yeah, they did. I can't believe that. They had a footstone here. Well, ain't no use me. You want me to say,
yeah, just tell me who they are.
this is our grandmother and grandfather Smith, my daddy's mother and daddy, John M.
You remember his middle name?
Let's see. No, I don't.
What about Ellen's?
Ellen Rowe was who she was before she married. Born in 1865, and my granddaddy in 1862. And somebody has moved the footstone. I hate that.
Hey, now this is your grandfather. So now, what's your grandchild's name? Give me a grandchild's name. What's one of your grandchildren's name?
Oh, Linda.
Is that one of your grandchildren?
No, my grandchildren is Vicky and Valerie.
Okay, this would be
Vicky and Valerie.
their great grandfather, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Great grandfather.
Yeah.
This would be Tasha's great grandfather. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Pleasant Grove Church.
But it should have been 19 and been engraved on there.
I know.
Lord have mercy.
I just hate that. Really hate
Many
that.
kids that he's got living,
Uh-huh.
and here they don't do that. Right.
See, there's Bonnie.
Bonnie Irene.
Oh, that is Maddie. That is Uncle Jim's wife. Well, lady,
Who is it?
Uncle Jim's
I
wife.
guess it is. Well, where would he have been buried?
He was buried over there next to his other wife. You know, that married him. You remember who married him? And she.
This
I
would
thought
be
he
what
was
now?
put
Daddy
between
B's?
them.
This would be
was
Daddy B's,
Daddy B's brother's
wife.
Wife, right. 1944.
We miss you more and more each day. You want to see Herschel's grave?
Yeah, let's go get.
Hold up and forgot about.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of stones out here.
Looking at that? Well, I've never seen it look like this. Never have.
Even the inside these stones are.
There's this Uncle Herschel.
Yeah.
That's pretty. You had it fixed really pretty good. You got a pretty flower. Did you put that there?
I brought some one time, but I forget if that was them or not. I always try to, every time I'd come over here, I'd bring some, but this time.
What was
I'd
his
always
middle
have to
name?
throw
Do
some
you know?
Herschel Harmon Price.
You know what I'd like to do is get Bill a stone like this.
World War II.
Was he a sailor? Yeah. Okay, I remember
yeah,
him
he
being
was a sailor. He fought on the water.
USNR.
Mhm.
Now, whose grandfather is this?
That's Linda. No, not Linda's.
Linda's kids.
Linda and
Vicky
Carol.
and Valerie, Kimmy and Teresa, and Trevor, and Tori, and Jimmy. I mean, not Jimmy, but Jim and Mike. I got them all, didn't you?
He said October 2nd, 1921, he's born. He's a year older than me. October 10th, 1954. Lord, that was long many moons ago.
It's pretty out here. And
And his grade don't look that bad yet. He drove that pet.
Yeah. He had a little store right down there that street we just come up, down there on the right. He drove a peddling truck out from there about 2 or 3 days a week. I remember this woman used to have a big pear tree, Bertha, in the backyard. Any of y'all remember that? And we'd go out. My God, I don't know what's happening in my brain. These things is just coming to me. I hadn't thought about it in years. I remember that pear tree. Well, it comes to me and then it leaves, so I probably won't ever think about it.
It's all stored up in there somewhere then. In your computer.
I'm afraid it's all coming out at one time.
I
And
think it's too weird in mine.
this is the road y'all used to live down, right?
here's a
there.
mailbox right
Yeah.
here that we used to come to when we was little girls. Bring our
Right down the
dog.
old dirt road.
Right down, well, you done got the dirt road.
Yeah.
Daddy talked about putting a trailer right out here somewhere. Back when he didn't know what else to do and where to move to. What to do, and I said, Daddy, for God's sake, don't do that. We used to know some people live right there. Y'all remember that?
That was Dalton and Dalton Payne.
Horace Payne
Yeah.
and all them. I used to,
Dalton. Oh, is that where they live?
you know, they had
He
a
was my first partner.
they had a little band going, and I learned to pick the guitar, and I picked rhythm.
Dorothy and who?
Rand?
Yeah. Herschel and Dalton and Ray.
Who's got that picture?
I think I've got it somewhere.
I don't
Jimmy
know.
told me to ask all the kids, is that ask Margaret, when you talk to Trav, ask him.
Wasn't somebody born?
Billy.
Billy Wayne.
Billy was
Billy
born
Wayne
up
was
here.
born here. Lord, I remember that morning we walked over there to Jacksontown.
I
Yeah,
remember
Lord.
that.
You remember that?
Believe it or not.
Was you with
Y'all
us?
told me, I was wondering how he's going to get that baby in that little black satchel that doctor carried, because y'all was telling me that's how he brought it.
What did you? We started, and I had a lot of memories here.
Oh,
We
you
got
ever
our
told
first.
some?
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know.
we got our first electric light here.
We got our first electric lights here in this old building.
Radio, didn't we?
Yeah, first radio.
And
Yeah.
about my first steady boyfriend lived over here across the road over in the field.
What was his name?
His name was
What was this thing that lived on here? Her
That
boyfriend.
run the store?
yeah. Lived with
Your Doris's daddy?
The boy that lived with
Hans Allen?
no. Now you want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Well, I guess my really first steady boyfriend lived over here across the road in the field. He'd walk over a little path every night and come over here, and we'd sit here on this old porch every night. And I guess that's the first smoking I ever done. He smoked Prince Albert and rolled cigarettes, and he taught me how to roll them. And we sit there on that porch and smoke cigarettes every night. That's the way we recorded.
Well, this house we're coming into now is where Herschel
louder.
lived. When we courted when he lived here, and he'd walk from here on up to Farmers High about 7 or 8 miles to see me, and we got married while he lived right here. And
Her
And
grandparents.
who lived here? What were their names?
Prices, Lucius Price and Madeline Price. Now I thought this was a great mansion right here.
Well, it wasn't
I
great.
really did. And
It wasn't brick in then,
that one they've done that since. And everything.
Yeah,
Ain't
it
it pretty?
Somebody fixed it.
Yeah, that little verse is spoken here.
Yeah.
He'd walk down this old road, I guess.
Yeah, Lord, yes. We'd all play on this hill.
Jack,
And here's where Darth and Red is.
Jack, this, I don't know.
I live in that house right
I
there.
think this is the first house we moved in after our house burned up. We moved into this house right here. I don't know, we might have lived here for a year. You was, maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. Then on up in the other house, we lived there for a while.
I hadn't had a chance to look through my pictures though, but I will.
I don't remember how long we lived in the blue house, the gray house, but we lived there a good while.
It won't be it'll just be a snapshot, but I'm pretty sure.
It seems to be like
Houston Strickland, his wife, used to own this house and live here.
I got a good one of Carolyn when it was, we went up.
Still here? Okay, who was
Both of
born?
y'all lived here?
Well, see, they had a
They lived
hall,
one side and I lived in the other.
and we had 2 rooms on one side, and Bertha and Herschel had.
Did Carolyn come down here?
She was born while they lived here.
Carolyn was born here. You had Larry. Larry was born later.
Yeah.
Later, what?
Well, he's born in November. She was born
You
in
was pregnant
July.
then, yeah.
Well, this house up here on the left side, up there, the old house, is where we lived when Diane was born. Also, Bertha and Herschel lived in one side of the house. They lived there when Carolyn was born. And I guess we must have lived, you was a little 5, 6-year-old boy, and you drove a little tractor around all over these fields out here. This older boy taught you how to drive it, so you love to do it, and you run it all over these fields here on each side of the road on this little tractor. And we lived here, I guess, until Diane, I guess Diane must have been about a year old when we moved away from here. But it's an old house. And
Looked better than this.
Anita, this is where your mother used to live.
but it looked a lot better. She was born here.
No.
How many children are there, first of all? There's me and Diane.
Well, I can
Okay, I have 2, Larry
That's
and
4.
Joan.
And
She has 2.
had 2, it's 6. And how many do you have, Bert?
3.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
No, on children.
Oh,
3,
3.
2, 4, 6. 3 is 9. So there were 9 children of the girls here. And then of how many grandchildren?
I have 4 grandchildren.
Okay, I had 1. Diane had 2 is 3. You had 4 is 7. 8. And how many have you got? How many grandchildren?
I've got
Grandchildren.
4, 7, 8, 9.
You got 9 grandchildren?
Yeah.
So there's, what did I say? 9? Did I say 9 children?
4.
And 17 grandchildren. Is that right?
Evidently. You had them all.
So about-
That's about it.
Your children were
Well, Jack and Diane.
Jack and
call y'all
Diane,
by
right?
name, or?
Yeah.
And 2 children, and how many grandchildren?
I had 1. No, 2. I got 2, right? I got 2 grandchildren.
You got.
I've got 2 grandchildren. You've got,
Well, wait now. You're getting confused
I'm getting too
right
far
now.
ahead, right?
I've got 3 grandchildren. Meg, Anita, and Jason. And then I have 3 great-grandchildren. Which
Now,
is
you got more than that. You left
little
mine out.
Little Jeffrey and Tasha. And Sean. That's all. I'm not going to mention my stepchildren.
Well, you had Meg, right? Meg,
Anita,
Jason, and Anita. So you had 3
Right,
grandchildren.
that's what I'm saying.
And then there
Then
were
I
how
got
many?
3 great-grandchildren.
And what were their names? Or their names?
Sean and Tasha and Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
So you're checking me now to see if I can remember.
Well, I've got to read it off. I can't think of it all.
I can understand.
Oh, it won't be fun reading it off.
Well, John,
Yeah, I did.
I'll just glance over here then.
Well, slide over and let Bert go in there. I've already got you. You were just done.
Oh my God, now Jack, don't tell me
You're still on
that.
it.
Oh, shoot, you ruined everything.
You're still on it.
Oh, say something.
Well, this is for my grandchildren, really, and which is Anita, Meg, and Jason. Also for my great-grandchildren, which is little Jeffrey, Tasha, and Sean. And someday you little children will enjoy looking at your grandma, and you see all these nice pictures of where your grandma used to live, back up on Sand Mountain, way out in the country, the fields where she used to go out and pick cotton and hoe corn and do all kinds of work, drag these big long pick sacks behind and fill them full of cotton all day. Lots of fun. We have just been back up on the mountain. It's been many, many years since Grandma was there, but it was so much fun to go back and see our old home places and the fields that we used to work in and some of the people that we used to know years ago. And it's really been fun, and I am so proud of Jack, my one and only son, for putting up with me and my three sisters on this trip. We've had lots of fun.
Okay.
Now, am I supposed to start now?
Yeah. Start with your children.
Well, this is for my kids now. Dorothy done got through with hers, and she said all the things that I wanted to say, but I'm going to say this anyway. This is for my kids, Linda, Carolyn, and Jimmy. Then for my grandkids, Vicky, Valerie, Robin, and Tori. I can't hardly think of all of y'all when I'm her. And this is for Carolyn's kids, Timmy, Teresa, Trevor. This is for Jimmy's kids, Mike and Jim. And then for all my grandkids. And then I have three great-grandkids, little Matthew, Ashley, and Shay. And I hope y'all will see this and remember your grandma and great-grandma up on Sand Mountain where I was raised and when I was a little kid, and we had such a good time, and I love you all.
Lord, that's good.
Now don't get emotional on that.
Okay, I don't want to cry
Won't
about
be
it.
no fun.
This is for Larry and his son and my sweet daughter-in-law Kat. They only have the one child, but he is such a nice kid, and I love him very much. And Joan, this is for Joan and Sam. Eric, Kurt, and Megan. They are my whore, as Derek is. And this trip was great. I enjoyed very much being with my three sisters. We hadn't been together in years, and this was great. We had a great chauffeur, Jackie, and we love him. I knew very little of what they was talking about on this trip. I got mixed emotions about it. They remembered everything. I'm not sure they ever let me get out of the house. Well, anyway, they're much older than I am anyway.
Not all that much older.
But it was a great trip, and I enjoyed it very much. Time for Sue.
Okay. Your children were?
Jeff and Dolores. Hi. and in memory of Ronnie. I have one granddaughter, and her name is Heather. Hi, Heather. I just want to tell you all that I love you very much, and I just wish you happiness and the best, and just always keep smiling, stay happy. We've had a glorious 2 days going back, and I got to see the house I was born in, and it was all so much fun. It brought back a lot of memories, but a lot of it I didn't remember too. But I want to just say I've had a real precious time being with my three sisters, and it was so good to get together and be happy, and I want to tell them that I love them very much. And I love you too, Jack, for taking us. Thank you.
Lord,
Right.
we all do.
All right,
I
let
didn't
her
say
wrap it.
that.
Okay, I'm going to try to show you where Sand Mountain is. Of course, everybody knows it's in Alabama. It's in lies in the counties of Marshall County and DeKalb County, Alabama. And you can see Highway 20 here. There's Villarica. There's Carrollton. And there's Bowden. So what we do is get on Highway 20 and go west, if you will. And I'll try to show you the route we took up there. Highway 20 going west through Anniston. And when we went up on past Anniston and then went north on Highway 77. Coming back, we took Highway 431. This is Highway 431 back down through Anniston. But I really think the best route is to go on through Anniston and then go up 77. It's certainly more scenic. You don't have all this traffic. This is just a lot of traffic through Anniston and then of course on up to Gadsden. This Gadsden here. You go west on 20 and go north on 77 up through Rainbow City. Come up and hit the intersection here on this is Interstate 59 running here. 59 looks like 69, but it's 59. Come across here and jog through this little area here, and then you hit 431 north. Go up 431 north through Boaz. Of course, there's Abbotteville that everybody talks about. All this area in here is the Sand Mountain area. Now, we went up to Abbotteville, and then you take 78, 75 out this direction. But it seems to me like we wide off right in here. If you see this right in here, and I'm going to go to a county map now to show you where we're at. This is Highway 75 coming here though. So you turn at the intersection of 431 and Highway 75. And I'll try to take you best I can by the map up to where they actually lived. Okay, the map we're looking at now is a map of DeKalb County, and you can see here's Highway 75 that we were just showing you, going west to Albertville. So coming out 75, if you will, and we'll ease on up into this area here. Okay, this seems to be the real spot that they actually lived in. There's 5 Points, Dalrymple Creek, or cemetery rather. This is Hopewell. Here's Hopewell Church. Here's High Falls. That's the picture of those bluffs or the falls where there was a bridge, and the bridge apparently has long since been burned down or destroyed. Here's New Harmony Church. I think there's some pictures in the film of the New Harmony Church. Here's Town Creek running through High Falls. Here's Chigger Hill. These are the roads. It seems like they lived there up and down these roads at different home spots. There were homesteads for different people, work fields, crops, and maybe move somewhere else. Maybe they work here in your Hopewell Church this year and move up toward High Falls next year. The scale, let's see if I can find the scale on this map. Okay, looking at the end of this pen, you see where the sharpener is sharpening it from the point to up there to where the yellow paint ends. That distance between the lead there and where the paint begins is about 2 miles. according to this map. So if you line up with Hopewell Church there with the yellow paint, and come up with the end of the pen, lead pencil there, that would be about 2 miles. So it would be 2 plus, say, 2, about 4 miles from Hopewell Church to New Harmony Church. Give you some idea of what the scale is. I wish we'd had a more defined map when we were actually riding up and down the roads, but we didn't have it at the time. But this is the area in which they live. Of course, it was a big event to come back out and get on Highway 75 and go to Albertville. I guess that was almost an all-day job with a horse and wagon. Hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of where they actually lived. Okay, this is a picture of the map of the area in which we were at the cemetery, and remember the little white church that we stopped at and looked at? Mother was talking about grandmother, her mother, jumping a little white picket fence and running down there to meet Daddy B, and then they ran off to Roosterville and got married. Well, that church is right here at Tyus. This is Rootville. That's Tyus there. Here's Bowden. Here's Carrollton. Here's Highway 20, the interstate. Bowden, Rootville, Tyus. The church and the graveyard, the white church that we stopped at and looked at, and again, where grandmother lived right up there at the corner, this intersection, a big house. That house is no longer there, and then it's apparently burned down or torn down. Of course, they ran down to Roosterville. There's Roosterville, or slipped off and got married. Not very far, I guess. Must be about 3 miles from Roosterville to Tyus. Give you some idea though of where that area is, because the tape, it's not a real clean break from Sand Mountain. All of a sudden we're back in Tyus again. The Smith family is, I don't know how far it goes back, but the Smith family is from Tyus. Most of them grew up there. Of course, Mother Cleo was a Wessinger before she married Daddy B and became Smith. All the Wessingers are from this area right here in Tyus. There at the church where the headstone, you'll see Wessingers and Smiths. But this is where they grew up, farmed, born, died. So if you have roots from the Smith side of the family, Westerners, this is where it all began. I really don't know how long they were there. Daddy B and them were born, say, around the turn of the century, 1898, somewhere in there. So I'm sure they were there in 1850s, 1860, 1870 is when they actually settled there. I don't know where they came from before they came to the Tyus area. But all the grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers and great-great-grandfathers are all buried at that Tyus church there. The Sharps, Wessingers, that's where they're at the Tyus church. I've decided to show a couple of pictures here. This is a group picture of the Smith family at the old home place near Tyus there. And we've been down to Tyus at this spot right here where there's a creek, and all of this home place is gone. There's a fence back here. You can see this fence, split rail fence. It's gone. There was a you can't see it very good in this video, but there's a barn here. Here's the top of the barn, roof line. The roof line comes down here, and it also comes down here. This in here is an old barn back there in the background, and you just can't see it on the video very good. You can see the edge of the barn. See that edge right there? It's the edge of it. Another interesting thing about this photograph, there's some people in the background here. Can't tell who they are, but you can see some people in the background here. Again, picture of the old split rail. See if we can identify the people coming across here. This is Bonnie. Of course, this is Daddy B. Tall and handsome, extremely good-looking young man. This is Johnny. This is Lena. This is Willie. This is Florence. This is Daddy B's only brother, Jim. This is Lula. See, she's got a necklace on or something there. This is great-grandfather John and great-grandmother Ellen, John and Ellen Smith. This is Daddy B's mother and father, father and mother, and they are buried not at the Tyus church. They're buried at Pleasant Grove, which is just right below Tyus there, about 2 miles, I guess. They have a big headstone on there. They're buried at Pleasant Grove with the big long mustache. Several little interesting things about this photograph. Everyone's wearing a hat, as you can see. Real big floppy hat. Daddy B's got a hat he's holding. What he's doing here. A tie on. High neck shirt. My grandfather John's got, there's a bag down here. That's a bag of some sort. Or maybe it's a purse. I'm not really sure. Long dresses. I'm sure all of these are homemade. All the dresses are homemade. See the fan? No air conditioning back then, so people were using fans quite a bit. Bonnie, I understand, died very young. I really don't know the story on all the other sisters. I'm sure it's probably a gathering on a Sunday or something, and family reunion of some sort. Daddy B looks like probably is what 19, 20 years old, maybe 21. Not really sure. His mother and father are already getting up there in age, it would appear. Daddy B. Never be another Daddy B. This is a photograph of Daddy B and Mother Cleo on their 51st anniversary. See the cake there. See the 51. I think Mother Cleo's health was pretty good shape at that point. Still very active. Can almost hear her say something to Daddy B, I think. Thought I'd share these pictures with you. I don't know who has all the old pictures. I understand Uncle Trap has them. They have a lot of them. I hope to make a trip up there one day and maybe video some of them. Well, Uncle Trout, there you are. There's the film of that we made while returning to Sand Mountain to visit some of the old places. Wish you could have been along with us because you were older at that time, and I'm sure you could remember a lot of the people and a lot of the places as well. It really was fun putting this together. I went to the library and tried to check up on Sand Mountain, find out a little bit about Sand Mountain. I guess the area in which that you lived, Daddy B and Mother Cleo, was in DeKalb County. Albertville's in Marshall County, and the High Point area, New Harmony area, that is in DeKalb County. Just a couple of facts that I had found out from the library. Settlement and early history of DeKalb County. DeKalb County was once a part of the territory occupied by the Cherokee Indian Nation. The coming of the white man in the country occurred during the American Revolution when a British agent, Alexander Campbell, was sent there for the purpose of rousing the Cherokees against the southern colonies. It seemed like they came through and through peace treaties, supposed peace treaties, and really and truly just ran the Indians off of that land. It mentions Chigger Hill in here. I think that was near some of the area that you're in. Chigger Hill. There are two stories on how Chigger Hill got its name. One has it that during a brush arbor revival meeting in August of 1918, it was decided by the people of the community to build a permanent church. Someone asked what the name of the new church would be, and another said that perhaps it would be called South Hill, just as the community telephone system was called. Since the old post office that once served the community was South Hill, this seemed to be the proper name for the new church. But Bertha Coggins is reported to have said they should call it Chigger Hill. Everyone remembers how those pesky little tropical fleas had bothered them during the revival, and so the name Chigger Hill stuck. The other story is that it was named spontaneously by the children of a private school that was taught in a little church building above the Elrod mill site. And I heard Mother and them talk about the Elrods, in fact working some of the land that the Elrods owned. It seemed that these children had no place to play during recess, but in the woods which surrounded the little church that housed their school, they were pestered so much by the chiggers from the hillside where they played that they called it Chigger Hill. Take your choice. Talks about Crossville in here. W.B. Jones Mill at Crossville, Alabama. It's W.B. Jones Gin. Crossville was incorporated in 1919. I believe y'all went there somewhere in the 1920s, 1926, 25, 27, somewhere in there. Dawson, Fairville, Fife, another community. Geraldine is a community I know that was very near there. It says Geraldine, a community dating back before the Civil War, is located on Sand Mountain. Earliest settlers in the area were the Elrods, the Brucks, the Houstons or Houstons, Spence, and the Johnson families. The first post office for which application was made by William A. Johnson was established October 11, 1882. It goes on and says some more, but it mentions Philip Elroy, I guess that is, E-L-R-O-D, who helped establish Salem Methodist Church, preached the first sermon in it, and was the first person buried in the cemetery there. Has a picture of Geraldine High School, 1919. Not sure if you went to high school there or not. There's a picture of Midway School on Sand Mountain near Peaks Corner. High Point is another area mentioned here. The small community of High Point marks the high point of Sand Mountain and thus received its name more than 50 years before the Civil War and was settled by the Clarks, the Biddles, McCurdy's, and the Rushes. Other settlers in the community were the Cordells, Ellises, Mays, Hales, and Halls. Hopewell community has the distinction of being the only site on Sand Mountain where a Civil War battle of skirmish took place. In January of 1865, a clash between the New York 68th Infantry and a company of Confederate soldiers occurred at Elrod's Tanyard, which was said to be on the farm now owned by Talmadge Pike. The Elrods and other pioneer families in this region were great leaders in education and industry. Again, I know Mother and Margaret talked about working land or working on lands owned by the Elrods, and mentioned a couple of boys. New Harmony, again another little community in and around that area. New Harmony, located about 6 miles west of Geraldine near the High Falls on Town Creek, gets its name from the New Harmony Missionary Baptist Church, which was founded in 1872 by Reverend William Jasper Hodgins. Settlers started moving in the region around 1850. Some of the pioneer families homesteading the land were the Dowdys, Masters, Holcombs, Elrods. Elrods go back for a long time. Shirleys, the Halls, Hodgins, Hortons, Winstons, Bryants, Lees, Johnson, Bells, Burns, Smith, Sneeds, and the Slaters. It says the High Falls on Town Creek, the natural arch rock, which I referred to in the video, which I show film of the natural rock bridge there. It says the natural arch rock, the picturesque gorge, and the mineral springs, which has drawn people for many, many years for water to cure their ills, lend New Harmony a mantle of interest and distinction. And of course, when I went down there, it had been abandoned for a long, long time, and the bridge had been burned or torn down. The water was really down. If you look at the video, I waded across. It didn't get over knee deep. And the road down to it was almost impassable, hard to walk. It was hard to walk down the road. A vehicle definitely could not get down. Very little is known of our family, and I assume that if there are any pictures of our family, you must have them. And I would like very much to try to make a trip up there one day and sit down with you and let's video the pictures and you talk about them and record some history of who we are and where we came from for prosperity. If we don't do it, then it's lost. You know, our history is lost so soon. I know very little about my great-grandfather. Very little about my great-grandfather and grandmother
on either side of either Mother Cleo or Daddy B. I know Mother Cleo was a Wessinger. Quite frankly, I don't remember any of those people. I don't know if any of them were even alive when I was, say, 6 or 7 years old. I do know where they're buried, but I don't know who they were or what they did, or brothers or sisters. It's how quickly it gets away. So when Daddy B and Mother Cleo's great-grandchildren pass on, then their children will not know of anything about Daddy B and Mother Cleo. So it would be nice to sit down with you and try to get some of it down. If I can't get up there and my schedule is just as busy, perhaps it would be nice for you and Joanne to try to make a trip down here. We'd love to have you, and I know Mother and them would love to see you, and we could sit out here on the back porch and talk about the old pictures. At any rate, we'd like to get together with you and do it. Hope you enjoyed the film.